Okay, I think we're ready to get started with today's program. This is a super fast 30-minute, I like to call it a skill drill because we're going to just spend the next 30 minutes delivering a ton of content. We have with us today top real estate agent Johnny Fallon. You guys will get to know him in the next 30 minutes and how he's running his business. You also have as your host today, myself, Stacey Alcorn, founder and CEO of Lair Realty Partners. I like to start every program as a reminder, knowledge is potential, execution is power. So the point of attending a class and spending time with any real estate program or any class that you attend is to execute. We don't want you to spend 30 minutes with us today and then leave and do nothing with the information. So it's really important that you turn the potential into power and write it down. So make sure you have paper and pencil handy so that you can take notes for the next 30 minutes. I guarantee you're going to have at least a full page of notes throughout today's program. Also, as a reminder, in case you have to leave early for any reason, you can head over to our YouTube station and subscribe. Each week we add 2 to 3 classes per week to our YouTube station. And every time we do a live class, immediately after the program, we upload it to our YouTube. So make sure, so that you can come back and review relative content, go to youtube.com/Lair Training and subscribe to that so that you'll just get a little message each time we upload some new relevant training content that you might want to execute on in your business. So let's talk about Google and what is a Google Business Profile. So Google Business Profile is a tool that helps your business get found when people search for real estate agents in your area. Think of it like a local search for real estate, but instead of listings showing, your business appears. If you have a Google Business Profile page, your business will show up higher on the search engine results when people search for real estate services in your area. And one of the biggest differences between Google, the old Google My Business, and the new Google Business Profile is the ability to edit your profile right from the search engine page. So many of you may not even realize that you already have a Google Business page, which we'll talk about in a second. But what's cool about that is you can go on and claim your page if one already exists. So why is it so important? Because people are searching for services online. So having a Google Business Profile helps boost your visibility online and attracts prospects and leads. Plus, people care about reviews and tend to look at what appears first on search engine results. And Google Business Profile makes it more likely that your business as a real estate agent will appear at the top of the search. So what's really interesting about the Google Business Profile is oftentimes I see real estate agents putting so much time, resource, energy into building beautiful websites, and they don't have a Google Business page. This may be more important than actually having a website. 15 years ago, we would have said you have to have a website for your business. I don't think it's necessarily important for your business today. That is a website. I do believe you need a Google Business page. So 3 reasons why I love the Google Business page. Number 1, it's free, mostly. At the very end of today's program, I'll very briefly cover Google Ads. Everything we're going to cover today is 100% free. But once you have your Google Business page set up, you're also going to have yourself set up that you could do some local service ads for a very low investment. So for the most part, everything we're going to cover today is free. The second reason Google Business pages are so important is the intention of Googlers. The intention of a Googler is different than the intention of somebody on Facebook. So when somebody's on Google, they're looking for information. They're Googling information. Somebody on Facebook is like lackadaisical, kind of heading over there, seeing what's happening, who's having what for dinner, who's doing something cool in their life. That is not the intention of a Googler. A Googler is looking for information that they intend on acting on. So this is why it's important to have your Google business page. When somebody is intending to hire a real estate agent, they're going to more likely head over to Google than they are going to head over to a Facebook page or a website. And the third and biggest reason I love Google is, you guys, if you've seen my training classes before, you know that I think Zillow is not good for our business. Real estate agents who are not focusing and talking about Zillow with their buyers and sellers are losing business to Zillow. And Google is one of the few places where you can actually outrank Zillow. Interestingly, this morning, by the way, your Google business rankings change every day. So even every hour, it really depends on what you're doing to build your Google page. So today I headed over and I was looking at Johnny's Google business page. So I Googled West Yarmouth, Mass real estate agents. And today, Johnny ranks #1 on that Google search. And Zillow was down at the bottom, like #8 in the search. How cool is that? In what kind of world, in what kind of planet can you outrank Zillow? Super rare. And what's also cool about this, and this is just a little side note, is Zillow can't afford to buy Google. So we don't have to worry about waking up tomorrow and finding out that the tool we've been using has just been purchased by what I would consider one of the biggest competitors in our industry, which is Zillow. So these are all the reasons why we need to dig in and build a Google profile. So we're going to go through really fast because I wanted this to be a super fast class for you guys. Steps to creating your Google business page. #1 step for you guys is go Google your name with real estate agent. So Johnny Fallon real estate agent, or Google your name with your market area that you cover, because many of you do not realize that you already have a Google business page. And what happened is, here's a page from my colleague, Brian Pereira, who's a phenomenal real estate agent. When I was playing with Google pages this weekend, researching for this class, I was Googling different real estate agents to see. I can't even tell you the number of real estate agents that have Google business pages. And because you haven't been using it, Google shows your business as temporarily closed. The good news is I let Brian know this, and within 1 hour, he texted me, he said, go look at my Google page now. And the temporarily closed button has been removed. So before you go start and build a Google page, which we're going to go through next, first, make sure you don't already have a Google page. So what happens if you have a Google page? There's a little button right on the page that says, do you own this business? You click on, yes, it's my business. That's me. Click on own this business, and it will let you log in and fix your account. By the way, when you Google your business page, only claim it if it's your page, not your office page. So your brokerage most likely has a Google business page too. So here's a difference. Like here's Lair Realty Partners and here's Brian Pereira. So Brian went in and claimed his Google page. Only claim it if it's your page, not your broker's page. So just an important note. So that's step 1. So let's say you do step 1, there's no Google business page for you. That means we got to start a new Google business page. You're going to go to www.google.com/business, google.com/business. I'm going to whip through this super fast. But so take as many notes as possible, but don't worry. I've put together a little cheat sheet for anybody that does not yet have a Google page. And by the way, the system walks you through this. So #1, you have to name your business. Once you go in and head over to set up your page, you have to name your business. You should name your business with your name in it. So for example, Johnny Fallon's business page is Johnny Fallon Realtor Lair Realty Partners. You don't want to name your business after your brokerage, Lair Realty Partners, because Lair Realty Partners has its own page, number one. Number two, it makes it harder for your people to find you. So make sure your business name that you are putting in for Google has your name in it. So as I mentioned, Johnny Fallon Realtor, Lair Realty Partners is a perfect name. So Johnny Fallon's people are going to have no problem finding him. Once you start the process, it's going to then take you down a whole list of things that you have to fill out. Be as thorough as possible when filling out all these fields. The more you fill out, the higher your rankings are going to be. So don't go through and leave most of it blank, because you're going to fall down on the ranking scale. You're going to choose your business type. The type of business, in my opinion, that you want to choose is service business, not a local store. Now, many of you are going to say, well, I want to have a local store so that they know that my office is here, located at this address. You're going to have issues in getting your page set up if you choose local store, because then they're going to want to mail to you a document so that they know that you're actually at that location. And if you work in a brokerage with 50 other real estate agents, the little Google card is going to get lost. It's going to make it much harder for you to get your business up onto Google. Instead, choose service business. That means you don't have to claim an actual location. It's going to ask you the area that you do business in, but just choose service business. It's then going to ask you to choose what category of business you're in. Choose real estate agent or real estate consultant. Then, like I said, it's going to ask you where do you service? You could start putting in all the locations like Chelmsford, Mass, Westford, Mass, Drake, Mass. You put in the locations that you service. And remember, we chose that we are a service. We didn't choose the storefront location. Don't choose that storefront location. You're going to want to put in your cell phone and your website. You will need the cell phone number in there in order. If you do not choose the storefront and you choose that you're a service business, instead of mailing you a card, it's just going to text you a code to make sure that that's really your cell phone number. Again, if you choose the storefront option, Google's going to send a postcard with a code to verify your location. It's a huge pain in the butt to do that, especially if you have lots of people working out of the same location. That is not going to happen if you choose just the service location. It's then going to send you a code. You enter your code. Then you want to add all the different types of services you can do. It's going to give you a bunch of prompts to choose from. And then in addition to that, you can create your own custom services that you offer. Maybe you add like home equity reviews, for example. Put in your business hours. Okay, messaging. This one's kind of important. It's going to say, do you want to be able to accept messages on Google? Now, if you say no to this, don't worry about that. It's still going to have a link to your website. It's going to have a link to your phone number. It's going to have all your contact information. If you say to yes here, add messaging, that means Google messaging. So only say yes here if you are going to either A, be checking Google all the time to see if you received a message, or you can also download an app. There's a Google messaging app, which is like a text messaging app, so that you get notified when those messages come through. Otherwise, just say no to the add messaging. There's going to be plenty of other ways for people to contact you on your Google business page. Next, add your business description. Be, again, as thorough as possible as you can be with 750 characters, because this plays a role in the Google search. So when people, for example, are looking for a home equity review, the system will go through and look for keywords based on what you put as a description. There's also a section where you can add photos for your business. Now, right at the start, I think it's a good idea to add a photo of yourself so that people know who you are. We're going to look at Johnny, and we're going to talk to Johnny in a few minutes about his Google page, but you'll see he has tons of photos. The first photo that shows up is him. By the way, the algorithm always changes, so it is possible that you could go Google Johnny Fallon and it's not going to have his photo first. Photos are super important. At least add a picture of yourself when you're setting up your account. By the way, once your Google business page is set up, you're then also going to be set up for Google advertising. I'll cover that shortly. And Google goes through a process of just verifying that you are who you are. I do want to note that there's different levels of verification that you go through. Just setting up the Google page is super easy. There's not a huge level of verification. If you do end up doing local service ads, which we'll cover at the end, it's a higher level of verification where it is going to ask you for a copy of your company's errors and emissions insurance. You'll have to upload a copy of your real estate license, things like that. But that's if you're getting towards using it even more using the local service ads. So here we are, and we could see when I was working on this over the weekend, Johnny came up second in a Google search. Today I Googled him and he came up #1 in a Google search. So as I mentioned, these could change. So all day long, you could Google it in the morning and then Google it in the afternoon and have 2 different results. But what Google will tell you is that the value is try to become what they call their 3-pack. And that means one of their top 3 are more likely to get more hits and more calls and more views, etc. So now I want to introduce you guys to our amazing real estate agent, Johnny Fallon, who has been really focusing on this for about 6 months. And the reason I'm most excited about all of your success, Johnny, is because sometimes when it comes to technology, people are like, well, I'm not a millennial, so I'm not going to be able to figure it out. Are you a millennial?
No, I wish.
Not a millennial, and you're like killing it utilizing Google. So first, tell us a little bit about you, how long you've been using Google and how you're using it.
Well, thanks, Amy. Stacy, thanks for having me. And hello, everybody. So I got turned on to the Google business page through my coach, my Tom Ferry coach. And I was a little hesitant at first, but since I bought into everything he said, and I just jumped in with both feet. So the couple of things that really caught my attention was when he had told me that he asked me what was the #1 search engine in the world. And I kind of knew that was Google. I said, Google, I got it right. He said, yep, Google is the #1 search engine in the world. And the #2 search engine in the world, as he explained to me, was YouTube. Well, who owns YouTube is Google. And then I drive around town, I use Waze. My kids don't. They tell me that's crazy, use Google Maps. Well, this all comes full circle now. And I'll explain a little later of how they all work in unison and how you can build upon all of them. And it's fantastic. So just to touch a couple of things, the #1 search engine in the world is Google. #2 is YouTube. Everybody uses YouTube to find out what to do and where to go, and Google Maps. So in naming my business, I took his advice. I went with Johnny Fallon, Realtor, Lair Realty Partners. Because I had claimed a location of my West Yarmouth office, people know where I am. So when they type in Realtor on Cape Cod, I'm in West Yarmouth. Google realizes I'm on Cape Cod. It goes right to my name then, and then Realtor, and that's how they find me. So it's important that you name it that way, Johnny Fallon, comma, Realtor, comma, Lair Realty Partners. And if you all want to use that name, that's good too. That should help me. But at any rate, that seems to have worked really well. In the hours, I go 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Now, I will answer my phone at 11 p.m., but the reason it says 11 p.m. is so I catch people on the other coast. That 6-hour time difference. When they're up and Googling people, I want them to find me. When you get to the service part of it, you need to be careful, particularly if you're going to go on further to the Google service ads, because they do cost a little bit of money, but you set the budget. So I started off with a very cheap budget. And that was okay because I didn't want to pay a lot of money, and I still have a very cheap budget. But when you start adding your services and people call you, you can get charged for those calls. And I know Stacy's going to cover that a little further on. For instance, I initially had rentals on there just because I'm greedy. I want to catch every possible call that comes through the pike, but I don't do rentals. I hate rentals. So I was getting calls for people looking for rentals, and I was getting charged for those calls. So I immediately went in and took rentals off of my services and property management off of my services. I thought I was being smart by casting a wide net and basically telling them I do everything in the world related to real estate. But then I realized that that's costing me money. So I wasn't set up long before my phone started to ring. And I was getting calls from people who I didn't know. And that was fantastic because as it was explained to me, Facebook is your inner circle, right? It's everybody who knows you and knows that you do real estate. So you use Facebook to keep top of mind amongst all your sphere of influence, all the people who know you. They know you do real estate, but you want to keep reminding them via Facebook. But Google is your global net. Google are the people who are coming into your community and typing in real estate agent Cape Cod, and that's how they find you. And through that, I've already had 3 transactions that actually closed. I mean, I had several calls that were really turned out to be nothing, but nowhere near the amount of, I don't want to say a bogus lead, but, leads that turned into anything. Google seems to be working because people are actually looking for a realtor in your area. And so far, in a relatively short period of time, and I'm talking within 4 to 6 months, I've had 3 transactions actually close. Now, those people are now added to my sphere of influence. They're added to my Facebook. And it all kind of completes a great circle.
All right, awesome. Let's talk about some of the pieces on your page. We're going to talk about increasing your Google rankings in just 5 minutes a day. Literally, you could set up your whole Google page in probably 15 minutes. And then creating a system so that each day you are increasing your ranking. So just quickly, here's the anatomy of Johnny's business page. So at the top, you'll see photos. First photo that comes up is Johnny, the name of his business, Johnny Fallon Realtor, Lair Realty Partners, his reviews, real estate agent in Yarmouth, Massachusetts, all his contact information. And then there's a place for postings, just like you post to social media each day. There's a place where you could post to Google throughout the day. And we're going to talk about that some more. A Google review section. This is the About Me section that you guys fill out when you set up your page. And it also has a questions and answers section. So we're going to cover that as well. We're going to dig into each of these a little further. So right at the beginning, you get the opportunity to upload photos. We're going to cover photos a little deeper in a second. And then you could see right off the bat that Johnny has a system in place for requesting those Google reviews because he already has 35 reviews. And remember, Johnny himself says, I haven't been using this for years. It's been 6 months. So we could see right off the bat that he has a system in place for requesting the reviews. So let's talk about photos for a second and the importance of the photos. The reason why the photos are so important is because studies have shown that businesses with more than 100 photos get 520% more calls, 2,700% more requests, 1,065% more website clicks than the average business. So it's super important to have photos. And that doesn't mean like stock image photos. What are some of the photos that you can see on Johnny's? Well, we'll let you tell us, Johnny. What do you upload for photos and how often do you upload photos?
So the photos are important. Again, Google, the algorithm wants to see 100 photos. So make your page interesting. I do mostly real estate, but I have a couple of other ventures out there music festivals and stuff. So I put those on there as well, just to make it well-rounded. But anytime I do an open house, if I have a really particular nice photo of a house, I put them on there. I put all my open houses on there, my solds. So basically, I like to think of it as I'm treating it as if it were a Facebook, but they're going to different places. So if I load it on Facebook, I try to load it on Google. And I try to build up my photos like that. Again, I own all the photos. They're photos of the houses I'm doing or other ventures that I have out there. So it's important to, Google realizes when you're engaging with their system.
And by the way, are you doing it from your phone typically? Like just snap the photo and upload it from your phone?
No, I'm sure it can be done, but I typically do it from my computer.
Gotcha. So goal should be, we want to get you somewhere around 100 photos for anybody that's really engaging in their page. Add one new photo a day, or one new photo every 7 days. Do not use stock photos. So in other words, they have to be real photos that you took. And don't fuss too much over a cover photo. I mentioned have like a professional photo of you as the cover photo, but remember it's going to change. It really depends on who's searching and what they're searching for. Next big thing, in addition to photos, is the reviews. Super important. So Google knows that the reviews are the #1 influence on consumer buying. So this is a key ranking factor in their algorithm. And you guys could see for yourself the impact of reviews on the rankings. So I could tell you, if you look at all the agents that come up on when you do a Google search in a marketplace, the ones that are at the top always have a lot of reviews. So we know for sure Google thinks that those reviews are really important. There's 3 parts to the review system. #1, you have to systematize a process for requesting reviews. 2, always respond to the reviews, which I noticed that Johnny is really good at that. And #3, review others. So Johnny, tell us how you're doing each of those 3 steps. Do you have a system in place for asking for reviews? Do you always go in and comment on the review? And are you reviewing other businesses in the area?
So I do, and I don't leave that. The review stage of this is very important. So I was taught to not leave that to chance, right? You could send out a request for a review from someone, and some people just have it in their mind. Nobody gets a 5-star, right? And they love you and they want to do the right thing, but they give you that 4.9 or the 4.5. Well, when I ask for reviews, I do it very specifically. I put a request out there. Basically, I say, I'm working to build my business by way of a Google business page. Your reviews and your thoughts on my service mean the world to me. At this time, I'm trying to gather as many 5-star reviews as possible. If you could take a minute to click on this link, and I assure you it only takes a minute, I would appreciate you're leaving me a 5-star review. Now that seems kind of bold, but you don't want to leave that to chance just because someone thinks, well, I know if you don't ask for it, you might not get it. So I ask for it straight up. And then, yes, as soon as I get a review from someone, I like it, #1, and then I comment. And Google sees that all as more engagement, me engaging more with Google and the people who are looking for me on Google. Google likes when you do that. The second part of it has to do with building a YouTube channel, which I'm really working on now, and posting a lot of videos on my YouTube channel. As far as liking other businesses in town, the reason that that's important is because now I'm starting to use Google Maps. So I'm on Cape Cod, and when I go to one of my favorite restaurants, I might say, and I've just started to do this, I might use Google Maps from the office to Captain Parker's restaurant, which is one of the places I go. Google Maps shows that I've gone there. When I get there, I take a picture of the restaurant, and then I might take a picture of the big salad that I'm eating, not the fried clams.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, wow, this is the best fried clams I've ever had. And I put that on my Google, and I rate Captain Parker's with a 5-star. That way Google says, oh, wait a minute. When people are in the area looking for the best clams, who is using Google and who has told us that they're the best clams on Cape Cod. Well, wait a minute, Johnny Fallon has. Johnny Fallon is not only promoting himself, but he's promoting local businesses, and it moves me up in the algorithm. And that is really an important part of it.
All right, awesome. I hope everybody wrote down many notes already, but really important. I think you make a great point, Johnny. Ask for a 5-star review. So don't just blast email everybody you know and say, please review me, because you don't know what you're going to get. Ask for the 5-star review. And number 2, do not forget that part of the algorithm is you going out and leaving those reviews for other businesses. Important part of the algorithm. Next is posts. What's interesting about the posts is this is a little different than posting on Facebook, because the posts have to do with the intention of what people are searching for on Google. So tell us what you're posting regularly on YouTube. I'm sorry, on Google.
Yep. So I use more of the Q&A portion of the Google business page. In other words, I develop the question, right? Is it a good time to sell a house? And I answer the question. And the reason I answer the question is because Google then recognizes, okay, there are other people out there asking, is it a good time to buy a house? And then they say, well, who's answered that question for us? Is there a local area expert? And not that I claim to be that, but Google then says, wait a minute, has anybody answered that question? Hold on, someone's asking that question on Cape Cod. It finds me and it directs them to me for the answer. So I've started to think of as many questions that I can answer intelligently. And I think of the questions that someone might be sitting back and Googling with respect to real estate. And that's why I build up that Q&A on my own page.
So super important. Another thing you guys should be writing down is, I think most people don't even realize the Q&A exists on the Google business page, is scroll down your Google business page to Q&A, and maybe once a week or twice a week, just ask a question that's suited to real estate. If you look up the Google algorithms, that plays into the search as well. So if you're using words, all of it plays into the search. So if you read the Google business page guidelines that they put out, they tell you that, for example, even what the consumer says in their review and the Q&A, all the pieces of it are part of the algorithm when a consumer is on there doing a search. So if somebody is searching CMA or market analysis for West Yarmouth, and there is a question that specifically says market analysis for West Yarmouth, or if there's a Google review that has those words, Johnny's going to come up first in the search. So this is kind of your way to be able to control all the different keywords by having Q&As that you go out and put in the questions, and then you also answer them as well.
And then I actually used Facebook. I put a post on Facebook. And again, Facebook is mostly going to people who know and like you, I hope. And I said the same thing. I said, I created a little Facebook post. I said, hey, I'm using Google Business Profile to create a broader scope on my business. Please, if you could take a minute and click on this link and leave me a review. Again, I'm trying to gather as many 5-star reviews as possible. And reviews can be hard to come by, but in that one post, I think I got about 15 5-star reviews. So the one thing I've been told is you have to be careful about overseeding that. Google, if all of a sudden sees on a certain day that you got, all those reviews, they might look at it suspiciously. So you just try to do it, spread it out a little bit. So because in your reviews, it shows when you got them.
All right, great info. One other piece, I don't think Johnny's page has many of these yet, but you can also, there's a section, because you're a business, where you can upload product links. So I think real estate agents don't even think about uploading a products link, because we think that's made for like stores selling items, but it is possible for a real estate agent to upload a product. What would your product be? Well, maybe you did an online buyer or seller seminar, or maybe you have a really cool first-time buyer guide or a local's guide of things to do in town or a seller's guide. Those are all products that you can upload to your Google business page. Two additional key points I want to make before we wrap up today's program. Number one is Google Maps. Many of you guys probably know that Waze is now part of Google. So Google and Waze are the same things. But as Johnny said, that's now becoming part of the algorithm using that mapping feature. So do you know, Johnny, I don't know the answer to this, but when you are using Waze, for example, at the end, do they have a mechanism that you can easily rate whatever restaurant or wherever you've landed right from the app?
Yeah, I find that to be pretty easy to do. They work well with one another. They sync together quite nicely.
All right. And then the
and I
other
think
piece.
under
Yep.
the products, I'm sorry, like we have an agent, Bridget D. Iorio, who's
Yes.
constantly reviewing pizza places.
Yes.
And I love that. So I have looked at her Facebook page many times to try to find a good pizza place, but it kind of, you can see the comparison where you're doing that on Google by reviewing local businesses in your town. And people will, again, if you're reviewing different pizza shops or restaurants or anything in your area, and people are in your area looking for that, that's how they find you too.
Yes. The one other piece I want to add, once you have your Google business page created, you can then do what are called local service advertisements. Google local service ads are another way that you can boost yourself towards the top of a Google search. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, this program today was really more about just getting your page up and running, but the local service ads do have an additional level of screening. One of our agents sent in a question, do I have to provide my social security number in order to get my Google business page up and running? I will tell you, as we were building this program for today, I went in and started creating a Google business page just so that I could document the steps. And it did not ask me for a social security number at any point. I don't know if it will ask for the additional level of screening. I don't recall having to do anything like that, but I do know for additional levels of screening, they may ask you for your company's liability insurance, E&O insurance, copy of your real estate license, things like that.
That extra level of screening, I believe, is also how you get that Google green check.
Gotcha.
And the Google green check tells people that you are legitimate, that Google has done a higher level of screening. They've gone over and they know that you have your insurance and all that stuff. So that, I believe, getting that Google green check is an important part of it.
And then how much are the ads? So in general, the ads, what's cool about the local service ads is that you only pay for people that are contacting you. So it costs somewhere around $6 to $30 per lead, and you can manage it within your Google business account where you could see, like Johnny said, I noticed I was getting tons of rental leads, so I went in and changed it, but you can also see how much you're being charged and how much your ad spend is. You can also cap your budget, like a daily or a weekly spending limit, so that you don't get too many. But what's cool about it is you're only paying if somebody actually reaches out to you, which just leaves me to the one last point on that, is that there are many real estate agents who do not answer their phone if they do not recognize the phone number. If you are one of those agents, you should not do local service ads. If you are an agent that does not answer the phone for a phone number that you do not recognize, you should not do local service ads, because what will happen is that the calls will come in through your local service ad. You're not answering it. Most likely the person is not leaving a message because they're already on to the next call, the next real estate agent, and you just paid for that advertisement. So just something to think about for your business.
And if you do get a call that is a bogus call or, you know, a wrong call, you can go right in and dispute that and you don't have to pay for that.
Okay, awesome stuff. Johnny, anything else you want to add about the Google business page?
No, I have a lot to learn about it too. But the thing that caught my attention was I understand the idea that Facebook is local, Google is global. And, you know, I don't think we're going to survive our business if we just stay local. So if we go global and we have those people finding us on through Google, I think that helps to build your business dramatically. And so far it's working. So.
All right, just a couple questions here. Can you tell that it's when you do the local ads, is there any way for you to tell that it's a call from Google, or is it just somebody calling?
No, my phone will tell me this is a call from Google.
Okay.
So I jump on it right away. But again, I'll still get ones, people looking for a rental, and I just tell them sorry. And you can also tell them, look, why did you call me and ask for a rental? Oh, just because I saw your name on on real estate. And you can say, well, I can tell you, if you're looking for a rental agent, you should be specific because, you know, that people get charged for these calls and you're probably not starting off on the right foot if you're having people answer phone calls from you that aren't really in their area.
And then one other question, somebody said, what happens if I have all these reviews at another place? So there's no way for you to import reviews from one site to your Google site. But I do think it's a great way to strike up a conversation with maybe a past customer you haven't spoken to in a while. So maybe you say, okay, I'm going to call 5 people a day who have left reviews on other sites and give them a call and just say, hey, I'm building my Google business page and was wondering, you left me such a wonderful review. I want you to know how much I appreciate it. And I was wondering if you'd be willing to do the same on the my Google page as well. With that,
you could take
yep.
a screenshot of that review and put it in your photos.
Ooh, I love that. So what Johnny just said is, even if it's not on your review page, still take a picture of it and add it to your photo page. I love that. So hopefully you guys are going to execute on everything that you learned today, because knowledge is not power, execution is power. Just in case you didn't get all of the notes that you wanted to, we put together some class notes for you today. Just head over to lairrealty.com/class notes, and you'll find a downloadable, about a 20-page booklet on today's program with many of the topics that we covered. And want to say thank you for digging into your business and joining us today for our skill drill series. And by the way, to say thank you to Johnny for sharing this information. It's so wonderful when we truly collaborate in our business, realizing that other real estate agents are truly not our competition. The competition is our own selves. So I'm always so thankful when a great real estate agent like Johnny Fallon is willing to share all his knowledge with fellow real estate agents. So if you guys know of any buyers or sellers looking for a property in the West Yarmouth or Cape Cod area, reach out to Johnny Fallon. And even if you don't, you can always head over to Google and leave a nice review for Johnny for sharing all his wisdom and knowledge today. Just Google Johnny Fallon, West Yarmouth, Mass, and leave a review. Johnny, thank you for an amazing program today.
Thanks, Stacy, and hello, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.